Okay, so let's move on
So,
to the most pointless movie ever made.
You want to talk about a pointless movie?
Aquaman: The Lost Empire.
A movie that tries really, really hard not to be pointless, but is pointless.
This movie truly is everything wrong with superhero movies in one movie.
I desperately want to know the backstory of this movie. Like, not the backstory to the story. I want to know the production side of this movie.
Yeah, kind of like what they did in Tropic Thunder, where they won an award for the making of the worst movie. Yes, almost like what's the Johnny Depp Don Quixote one?
Oh,
Lost in La Mancha?
Something
Isn't
like
that the documentary about the making of this movie that never happened?
I think so.
Yeah.
But, like, I just want to know so many things about the production of this movie. I want to know about the stuff with Amber Heard, first and foremost.
Which is really blatant.
I don't
she
get
obviously was cut out of.
I don't get it. It doesn't... she must have had this iron contract that they could not get out of, because they fully write her out of the movie. But she's such an integral character to the story, and you're just left being like, then why didn't you recast her? And just have her in the movie. So there had to have been some contractual thing that kept them from being able to recast her.
And it was brutally obvious that there was zero chemistry between her and Jason Momoa.
Nobody wanted to be on screen with her.
No, not even a little bit.
No. And but why is she in this movie?
I don't get it.
Mira is such an important character to Aquaman's storyline. Why didn't you just recast her?
I don't get that either.
Get it. I just don't understand. So there has to be something there where there must be. There just must be.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, also, you got to remember when this first started shooting, because this was going on for a long time, the whole trial hadn't happened yet. And so she was still on the side of Johnny Depp's a monster. And then while they're shooting it is where the change happened, and the whole movie was probably done to the point where they were like, we can't just reshoot everything she did, so the cheapest thing would just be cut
her out of the whole movie, and
especially because by that time they also had the James Gunn taking over and saying, well, this movie doesn't mean shit. So,
and you can tell James Wan checks out halfway through this movie. He's done with this whole thing.
Dude.
And everybody besides Momoa. I think Momoa is the only
earnest
boy.
Momoa. I hate the fact that he was in the shit movie.
He's so earnest, and he's the only one that's earnest in the entire movie.
Yes.
And, his performance is great. I love when he's talking about just slapping people. And it's just like, this is wonderful. What the fuck is going on with Black Manta's crew?
Dude.
Why are they wearing the costumes from Planet of the Vampires? What's happening? Is this a reference, or is this just accidental? Why did you choose this look?
I don't.
You had 6 months. What is this? What is happening?
But this is similar to what we've talked about with the characters in Marvel. They're going out of their way to ruin Black Manta.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, he is one of my favorite characters in the DC as far as villains go, and they've done a great job fucking him
cool.
up.
Whenever he shows up, Manta is so cool. He's so cool.
Yeah.
Call him fucking Manta.
Yeah.
His name is Manta. You don't have to call him Black Manta, but you have to call him Manta. And they don't. They refer to him as, John? Like, the whole movie, they're like, what's John doing? What's going on with John? And I'm just like, what are you talking about, John? What is happening here? This man is Manta. I will know him as Manta. But they basically just call him John for the entire movie. And so they're like, oh, we have to stop John before he does something he'll regret. What the fuck are you talking about? Call him Manta. He tells you his name at the end of the movie. His name is Manta.
Yeah.
Call him fucking Manta. And just, I don't mind the whole Black Trident thing or Black Quadrant, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's
fine.
It was all right.
It's fine. I've seen this story done better.
And honestly, the design of that villain,
it was just
it looked a lot like, do you remember when Aragon,
I was about to say the Ghost King.
It was him.
It's the Ghost King.
It was absolutely him.
They just straight up stole the Ghost King, and they replaced the parts of him that are white with a blackish gray.
Yes.
And it's the Ghost King.
Thank you for saying that. Because as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's
the Ghost King. Yeah. No, 100%. 100%.
Yes.
And just like, you have these stupid scenes, the whole thing with Orm. What the fuck is going on with Orm? Dude, the Orm thing was so
dumb. And he's running and he doesn't know how to
I
run.
hated that scene.
His arms.
I hated that scene. where Aquaman has to teach him to run and he suddenly runs like Usain Bolt. I hate this. I hate this so much.
Every part about Orm was terrible. All the way to the ending.
Except for Patrick Wilson's performance, where he's trying to give this earnest performance in this terrible movie.
Oh my God.
And it just is terrible. The whole thing, I'm not going to criticize you for the whole thing where he's in the middle of the Sahara Desert and then they have to rescue him. And as soon
they did it in the first movie.
As soon as he touches water, he's revitalized. Fine, whatever.
All right, Percy Jackson.
Yeah. What the fuck is going on with the octopus? Hang on. Everybody stop. What the fuck is going on with the octopus?
That was just dumb.
What the fuck is this thing?
That was really fucking dumb.
And how does it exist? And it's glistening all the time.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
And it seems like anytime they've written themselves into a corner, like just have the octopus run in and do something. It's
the
like,
octopus saves them.
Yeah.
What? What do you mean the octopus saves them? What the fuck is this shit? Someone stand up and be accountable for what is happening here.
And the funny part is we're going in all this stuff. We haven't talked about the baby peeing and directing it at his dad, so it hits him in the face. It's like,
hits him in the mouth.
Hits him in the mouth. Yeah,
Mira like, squirts him in the mouth with baby pee,
and it's like, dude.
And just like I like the idea of seeing Jason Momoa as a dad.
Yeah, that was cool. And him and his dad, him and Boba Fett, with the baby was cool.
But also, that baby is so white. I just kept on being like, man, that is the whitest baby I've ever seen. This baby is 90% Mira and 10% Aquaman.
Yeah, that's Nicole Kidman's grandson.
Yeah.
And Nicole Kidman sucked in this movie. Like, I liked her in the first
like
one.
Like everybody, she's just sleepwalking through this.
Barely.
It's like all of the heights of Aquaman, where it's just funny and silly and crazy.
Yeah.
Where you have the craziness of Atlantis and all of the bonkers nature of everything that happens there. And the way that the fights go, the octopus playing the drums, the people riding sharks and seahorses, Dolph Lundgren showing up and being like an actual guy that you care about as a character and you're interested in, you're not just laughing at him because he's Dolph Lundgren, even though that would be the thing to do. The fact that you have Ocean Master's costume from the comics and Aquaman's costume from the comics, and they're perfect.
Yeah.
It's so good. And you do the ocean at the center of the earth, fine, that's fine, whatever. I don't care. I'm not gonna pick a fight with you over that. All of those wonderful things, when they show up here, is so tawdry and terrible and tacky.
Including Gimli Crab.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh, poor John Rhys Davies. I hope he made a lot of money doing the voice work.
I just couldn't with that.
It was terrible.
It was not
fucking
and it was
funny.
so full of Marvel humor. Of just like, we got to have something funny happen.
It took me a while to grow my arm back. Oh, I lost my arm again. Oh! I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Is this what's actually happening?
Yes.
Is this what's happening?
Oh my God.
They had the whole thing about like, oh, the barrier wall is so important and nobody can breach it. Except if we just breach it because we want to and it's not a problem. It's all the things that you just told us, none of them happen. And I was so not impressed with so many elements of this movie. It's not that it's bad, it's that it's nothing. It's just a nothing movie.
It's so
the things that I remember coming out of this movie are not the cool moment where X, Y, or Z happens, right? There are cool moments. I'm sure there are cool moments. I don't remember any of them. I just remember the things that I couldn't explain when I was watching it. What the hell is going on with Randall Park's whole character? What is this? What is happening?
It was ridiculous.
What is going on with all these people on the submarines? Why are they so fervently working for Black Manta? Why does he have all of this ancient tech that looks like shit, but is apparently working fine?
Yeah.
Why is all of these things happening?
Randall Park figured out how to make it work in like a day.
It wasn't the magic of the trident that allowed it to work. It was Randall Park figuring it out.
A human, after thousands of years of this ancient alien, let's just say it's alien technology, and he figures it out in a day.
Yeah.
It's like Jeff Goldblum giving a spaceship a cold.
Yeah.
It's like the same kind of thing. You're like, dude, how the fuck
What the fuck are you talking about?
It didn't make any goddamn sense.
And it reeks so much of that line that I've used for Marvel movies on many occasions, which is, you go back to Robot Chicken, and it's Luke and Darth fighting, and Darth says, I am your father, and no! Oh, you think that's bad? And he just keeps on talking about the dumb decisions, and he gets the midichlorians, and Luke says, look, if you're not going to take this seriously, I'm out of here. And that's how I felt about this movie. I was like, look, if you're not going to take this seriously, then I don't need to be here. Like, I appreciate that they had the moment. I think they had a moment in this one where they talked about how Superman couldn't save the day because he was off doing something.
Or some shit.
So, yeah, you did that. Good. congratulations. I'm glad that you did a proofread on your paper before turning it in. There's just so many moments where I was just like, nobody's gonna know. The world's burning. Nobody's gonna talk about it. Nobody notices this island in the Pacific that is spewing green smoke into the sky and we are told, have massive readings of climate change just coming from this one island and the mutations of all the animals. There are satellites, man. Like, I get it. You can't see it locally. It doesn't show up on radar locally. We have satellites that rotate the planet. You have to be able... You can see the Great Wall of China, but not this giant plume of sickly green smoke coming out of this volcano.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to check on this?
It was like a Bond villain thing where it's like, you know, the volcano layer and it has all this stuff, but nobody knows where the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And this was the volcano layer.
Yeah.
This was the James Bond villain volcano layer.
There were just there were too many moments like that.
And it was, the thing that really made me sick to my stomach, though, was the insane overuse of CGI.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was...
Super
It was
CGI
a bad cartoon.
Yeah.
It was so much fucking CGI. It's like, dude, I know the first one used a lot also... But they also, you know, they used a lot of scenes on land where they could use practical effects.
A lot of the action sequences in the second act of that movie take place on land.
Yeah. In Italy with Mantis going after them and all that,
In the Sahara when they were trying to find the temple that they apparently also sent Orm to.
Which is fucking weird. It's so dumb.
I didn't know that was a prison. I also didn't know that you knew it existed. Last time you said it was a lost place.
Yeah.
The lost realm or whatever you called it. And it doesn't seem very lost. Seems like it's up and running and there are people living here. Also, apparently the Council of Atlantis okayed Orm's invasion plan because they keep on blocking literally anything Arthur wants to do. But Orm was totally good to trick a bunch of other nations and kill a bunch of other monarchs and do all these things.
They went way over cliche on that that board and how they're like, no,
you can't do anything.
It's like, dude.
Okay, so what's the fucking point of this?
Yeah.
Thanks, Congress. I needed to see because I don't have enough pain and consternation from Congress in real life.
Yeah.
I need it in my fucking Aquaman movies now. Thanks, Congress.
It's so bad.
No, there are just too many moments like that where that became the entire movie.
Yeah.
Was just, what's happening? And then intermittently, shouldn't this be blank? Or rather, shouldn't this be solved by blank? Why is this a thing? And then, this is dumb. Those are the three kind of emotional tones you hit in Aquaman Lost Kingdom. Is like, why is this happening? Why isn't anyone else taking care of this? God, this is stupid.
Yeah. And I didn't get the scene at the end with Orm where he's eating a sandwich and then he just eats a bug.
Oh, because he was tricked by Arthur into eating a cockroach on the island and told it was a delicacy. And so now he sees a cockroach and he puts it in his sandwich because he thinks it's a delicacy. Because he's a fish out of water?
Yeah.
Because he's a fish out of water, Steve.
And that's the fucked up thing about this movie. Like, I remember a lot of it now, but as it was going, I just kept forgetting what happened. The scene it was so bad.
Literally, my reaction to this movie was just, I only remember the stuff that I found frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember the good parts. I just remember the parts where I was like, why the fuck is this? The baby is born before the 5-month jump. There's a 5-month jump. The baby is the exact same age.
Same age. Thank you. Yes.
What the fuck is happening?
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up.
If you're not going to take this seriously, then I'm not going to show up to your party.
Like, mention something maybe that they age slower.
But we know that's not true because that wasn't a thing for Arthur.
But Arthur says he's half human, half. But he's... So this would be three-quarters
Atlantean.
Yeah. But it's like, you don't even mention anything like that.
Nothing.
And it's like, well, what
you
the fuck?
give us nothing. You cast this baby that doesn't look anything like Aquaman. And then you have him be a perpetual baby who never ages.
Yeah.
He's one of those babies where you could throw him against a wall and he doesn't get hurt.
Yep.
Like, nothing phases this baby. Always fine. Always totally fine.
Like, I don't think he ever cried.
Doesn't really cry.
I don't think he ever cried.
Mostly left with his grandpa in the lighthouse for most of the movie.
And it's like, you're going to leave a baby with Boba Fett? I mean, come on.
You are the king of Atlantis. I'm sure they have someone that can take care of the baby. And if Boba Fett wants to be part of that, I'm sure that Atlantean technology and magic has a way to facilitate it.
Yeah.
I know this because I've seen it in other pieces. So it's got to be here, because if they figured it out in the Aquaman animated movie, how to do that, how to have Batman be on the floor of the ocean, I think you can figure it out here.
And it was so weird, the relationship between him and Atlanta, because it's like, it seems like they're in love still. Like, at the end of the first movie, she comes back to him. And then when this starts, though, she's never there until he gets hurt. And then she's there. And it's like, I'm really confused what's going on with that.
There's a lot of injured spouses in this movie where it's like, something has to happen to the spouse. They're injured and in the hospital. But nobody's going to die.
And when Amber Heard was hurt, it's like, he did not give a shit. You can kind of act Jason Momoa like you gave a shit, but you didn't give a shit.
This is what I mean. Why is she in this movie?
I don't know.
Like, you have to have Mira in the movie. Why is she still played by Amber Heard?
Yeah.
If we can recast Cassie Lang, we can recast Mira.
And how can you get rid of Willem Dafoe off screen?
That was silly. He dies of a plague.
It's like, it's Willem Dafoe, dude. It's like Prometheus. Not Prometheus. What's the second one? Alien.
Covenant.
Covenant. It's like, okay, so you have a major character everyone liked, and you're just going to kill him off screen?
Well, that was especially funny because they spent so much time with her at the end of that movie showing her escape. And then we meet David, and David's like, yeah, she died. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean she died?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, she died.
And that was kind of the same here. It's like, he was a major fucking component of that first movie, and it's Willem goddamn Dafoe. I always laughed when Willem Dafoe would show up because he's so clashes with everything that's happening here. So it's like, it'd be like if Al Pacino showed up. You're like, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck is the Green Goblin doing?
Why is he here? Why is he the Vizier? Why is any of this happening? Yeah. And so when he died off camera, I was like, I mean, this doesn't make any sense, but at the same time, I didn't really need Willem Dafoe in this movie anyway, because it didn't make any sense.
It makes you wonder if he just asked for too much money.
I think he was busy with something else. I think he was probably filming something else. He's been busy the last few years. He was probably filming an art project that actually mattered. He was filming The Lighthouse, where he gets to be King Triton in real life.
Well, what was the... Because he was in...
he was in Poor Things.
Poor
Things.
Have been
filming
that was filmed long after, Yeah, Lighthouse, actually, that was kind of in line with when they filmed this movie, because this has been sitting for a long time.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I have a lot of questions about this movie. But that's the thing. Coming out of a movie, the thing that I want to talk about shouldn't be the production of the movie. It should be the movie. I shouldn't be left asking, what the fuck happened in the production of this movie that it ended up being this? I should be talking about the octopus playing drums and the cool fights underwater and the seahorse battles and the depth beatings and all these other things that are Aquaman. I should be talking about those, and instead I'm sitting here being like, but are they the suits from Planet of the Vampires? Because it looks a lot like the suits from the Planet of the Vampires.
And once again, this movie makes you question, how bad was Batgirl?
Yes.
If they canceled that, but not
kept
this.
Flash and this.
Yes.
And they got rid of Batgirl, which had less CGI than the Flash and this.
A third of this movie.
So why did they get rid of that one and not one of these two?
I don't know.
I will never understand that. Again, I need a documentary about the DCEU going through all of the decisions and just the ups and downs of all of it. The Zack Snyder fired, the Zack Snyder brought back, the Joss Whedon here to save the day, cramming all of everything into Batman v Superman instead of having it be just a movie.
Yeah.
And then ultimately coming to this and the Flash. I want to know about the rushed production on the Flash, and I want to know what the fuck happened here.
Yeah.
Because I'm just, this has Discovery Warner Brothers written all over it of just a fiasco. I don't get it. I don't know what happened.
I really don't.
It's a mess. It's a high holy mess, and there's just a lot of moments where I'm like, man, this should work, and it just doesn't. No part of this works.
This is my second F. This was my double F show. That's why I was saying that to me, this is the death of the superhero. Because these two movies, to me, epitomize what's wrong with the superhero genre right now. And there's no better example than this last one.
I'll give it a D simply because I didn't hate it. I nothinged it. I nothinged it. It was nothing to me.
Okay, I could see it nothing.
And so like I can't give it an F because I didn't hate it enough to give it an F.
And that's why I give it an F. I really did enjoy the first one a lot.
Yeah. Oh,
and
I love the first
Jason
Aquaman.
Momoa.
I love the first Aquaman.
Oh, it's great.
It's one of my favorite superhero movies of all time.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's a great movie.
It's so fun, and the pacing on it is so great, and the characters are so good, and the design is amazing, and the look of it is great, and the effects are amazing, and just everything about it is a 10.
Yeah.
And then this is...
Well, that's the thing with this one, is what makes this so frustrating for me is prior to the whole shakeup with DC, this was their serious attempt at a sequel.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until James Gunn took over that they might have cut a couple things and kind of rushed it. But there's not enough left of this movie to make me think that whatever the first edit might have been, even with Amber Heard in it more, that it would have been good.
Well, and like this doesn't even tie back to the main universe. Like that's how far they've fallen. Is that this doesn't even tie back to anything else. You know, so like it references Superman and Wonder Woman, but it doesn't tie back to anything. It doesn't lead to anything.
Doesn't talk about the Flash, and Arthur's fucking at the very end of the Flash in the post-credit scene.
It doesn't talk about Flashpoint, or if anything happened, or if Arthur's angry at the Flash over something being changed. Anything?
Nothing.
Anything? Nothing connective?
Nope.
Nothing connective. So then this means absolutely nothing to me.
And at least in some of the Marvel movies, when you don't have the other... They talk about the Avengers, and they talk about these other characters. They don't even, like you said, they talk about Superman. They don't talk about anyone else.
They barely mention them, kind of as an afterthought. They tick the box. What is Superman doing that he can't solve this problem?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to tick that box and we're going to answer that question, but we're not going to go into any of that. And like Blue Beetle also didn't expand the universe any, but it was also a much smaller, much more insular film that was about family and other things. I mean, this is also technically about family, but it becomes about so much more.
Yeah.
Because there's themes of climate change and doom of the planet and the planet that we hand off to the next generation and all these other ideas that are kind of vaguely brought up but never have anything done with them. So what's the point? What's the point of any of this?
And it was, you know, the big difference with Blue Beetle, too, is a much more intimate movie than this movie. This movie was just so loud and so in your face and so it's just vomiting CGI all over the place that it wasn't pleasant.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and I won't get over the stuff with Orm. That again is
another. Terrible.
It's just another element of the production that I want to know.
Movie part with the two
what
of
the
them
fuck
was
is going
so
on?
bad.
Because like they laid the groundwork at the end of Aquaman for them to be friends, to have this kind of like, I don't want to hate you. You're my brother. We're gonna figure this out, and when you're ready to talk, we'll talk. And
their answer was to throw him in prison and torture him. Pretty much, that was the answer.
Well, because they had to do that because of the fish people, supposedly. That was the arrangement that they said. But, like, again, I just don't understand bringing back Orm in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, and, like, as an advisor, you know, if you're going to have Willem Dafoe not be in this movie, you could bring in Orm as the Vizier. I've seen that. I've seen Orm be at Aquaman's right-hand side. Not unheard of. This whole buddy cop thing, and we got to teach Orm how to live on land. I don't want to do any of this, man.
That's so bad.
And also, I knew it was a long shot. I was really hoping Aquaman was going to lose a hand in this, and we were going to get the harpoon hand. There were just so many moments that I wanted, and we didn't even get close to any of them.
Especially seeing as this Aquaman has the beard, so
it's
like.
I wanted that.
Harpoon hand,
I wanted that Aquaman. That's one of the badass Aquaman, and we just never get there, and instead we just coast on a lot of nonsense that doesn't mean anything to anyone in the plot.
And I think the thing that I take after completing this film is the saddest part is this is the end is Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Maybe.
And it's like, no, because I highly doubt, because he even said he might be Lobo in the new DC universe. I don't see them, just because I think James Gunn wants to separate himself so much from the previous DCU. And that's the sad part. It's like, I loved him as Aquaman.
Yeah.
I loved him.
He revitalized Aquaman.
Oh, absolutely.
Aquaman was a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Until Jason Momoa came along. He was a
other
fucking
than
joke.
us that have seen him in the animated movies, which he definitely fucking was, especially Flashpoint.
But like,
he was fucking badass.
Within pop culture, he was his superpowers that he can talk to fish. And he's a joke. Nobody takes him seriously.
That you brought up.
Robot Chicken.
Oh my god,
that's exactly where I was going.
Family Guy. A lot of the cutscenes where he's just like, "Yeah, I'm going to talk to fish." And
fucking SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Dunks on Aquaman. Everybody dunked on Aquaman.
The Boys, the Aquaman-like character in it,
the Deep
is a joke.
Yeah.
And he's not a pedophile, but he's a sexual predator and a joke.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you're really sticking it to Aquaman because this guy's supposed to be like your Aquaman.
No,
it's terrible.
He gave Aquaman a credibility that was just begging to be given, and I really hope that I would love to see him come back. The one thing that I want to see in this next era of superhero stuff is let's start editing. Let's start editing more, guys. Let's all do another round of edits on everything before we put it out, and we'll make sure that what we're putting out is actually worth putting out instead of the tripe that we've been pushing out because we just got to get it out there. We got to stay relevant, so we just got to shove something down their throats, and it doesn't matter if it's good. Yeah. Just shove it in there. I want to edit in the sense of I want to assess what works and keep it. I don't want to get rid of those things. I want to keep them. I just don't know what their plan is because they announce what they're doing, but they don't say what the plan is. Yeah. And that's very concerning to me.
And my concern with James Gunn, and I love James Gunn, like there are a lot of his movies, I mean, going back to Slither, which I loved, he does silly movies.
Yeah.
He does silly shows like Peacemaker, which we love.
And the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Oh, no. Why would you have to bring that up?
I'm just saying, a record is a record is a record is a record.
I think what superhero movies need to get back to is not... They don't need the Nolan darkness. No. Which they were trying with...
That was so long. They were going for that for so long.
But you can have a darker tone to the movies and a more seriousness to them. Take them serious. That's where I think they're not doing with modern superhero movies. They're not taking it serious. They did in the beginning, and now it's like, it's for kids, it's to sell things, it's not a serious film.
Go back to the animated films. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll start taking the animated DC movies and putting them all together on YouTube.
But even like, we were talking about the early Marvel movies, take it seriously and give us something that, it might have humor, but you're taking it serious.
Well, I go back to the Death of Superman animated film, where you have this whole thing where the Flash is getting married. And Superman's like, well, what are you going to tell Iris? And Barry's like, what do you mean, what am I going to tell Iris? And everybody's like, oh my God, Clark, you haven't told Lois. Oh my God. Are you fucking serious? And so you have this whole relationship thing with him and Lois, and that could get boring or tawdry. But then when he dies, it means so much more.
Yes.
So, like, you gotta lay the groundwork and keep it grounded. I'm not saying it has to be grounded. You can still have Cyborg have a digital projection of a submarine underwater and how fucking Green Lantern or whoever it was got his butt kicked by him. You can still do all that. That's great. Yeah. I have no problem with that. I want the characters themselves to be grounded characters because that's ultimately why we love them. Yeah. It's because it gives us something to aspire to, but it also shows us that we can be that.
Yes. And I love that dynamic you brought up because that is an important thing for me. If you think about it, what makes that so deep is Lois Lane has to mourn Superman and Clark Kent at the same time.
And separately.
And she has to relive through both, and that is so fucking powerful.
And she can't tell anybody what happened to Clark. Clark has disappeared.
Yeah, He's only not one dead. She can talk to is Martha Kent.
He's not dead. So everybody's like, oh, don't worry. Clark's fine. He'll come back. He'll talk to us. He's just underground somewhere in Afghanistan. It's dangerous, but like he'll be fine. Oh, she knows that that's not true.
Yeah.
And I love the animated movies because
Which
they
once
hit
again
that so
makes
hard.
The end of Batman vs Superman so stupid when they give a fucking funeral for Clark Kent. It's like, all right, well now he's back. Well, Clark Kent's back. Oh, but he fucking died.
He died overseas mysteriously, covering sports.
It's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb. All right, folks. Well, that was Neuropod Generations episode 133. We really hope you enjoyed it because I enjoyed every minute of this. We've been waiting for this episode for a long time, and I needed to talk about these movies because unfortunately everyone I work with doesn't watch shit. Yeah. So it's like I can't talk to anybody, and we've been waiting to talk about these. So I'm very happy to get it all off my chest.
Oh, definitely.
So if you liked what you heard, please go to youtube.com, look up Neuropod Generations, and revisit some of our past episodes, little bite-sized segments, or just go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, listen to our back catalog, listen to our current shows, look forward to the future shows, which we got a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot coming out.
There's
so much coming out.
I think pretty soon we're going to do Roadhouse. Me and Kelly are going to watch Poor Things this week. Yep. We got a lot of stuff.
Invincible, I'm catching up on.
Season 2
we
is
got
coming up.
Avatar. We got
Avatar. We got to go back to Avatar.
And then my most anticipated movie right now is on Netflix, and it comes out May 4th, and it's Unfrosted, the Pop-Tart movie Jerry Seinfeld made. It looks so fucking funny.
I can't get over these faux. They're not biopics.
No.
I don't know what they are, because they did one with Flaming Cheetos, and they did one with Kellogg, and they did one with Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, is it a biopic? Is it not a biopic?
I was on board with it, and then I saw they have Bill Burr playing JFK, and I was like, I'm on board! Like, as soon as he started talking, I was like, holy fuck, I got this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if we got a lot to talk about, we will get into more. Please check back next week and future weeks, because we're going to keep rolling, folks.
Yeah.
You're never getting rid of us.
In the meantime, our art is by Kortney Howell. Our theme is by Brendan Williams and James Connelly. Yes. And you can find me at JustSomeStudios.work under the Brox Division tab.
You can find me under a rock somewhere.
And until next time, friends and enemies, we will be ranting and raving like mad people.
Great.
Either in the cheese section or in our own living rooms, terrifying our pets and our wives.
Yes.
Have a great week, friends and enemies.
Peace.